Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Once upon a time, in a city in Persia, there lived two brothers. Qasim was a rich merchant, but Ali Baba was only a poor woodcutter. One day, Ali Baba was cutting wood in the forest when a band of 40 thieves, led by their captain, Gamal, galloped past carrying bags bulging with gold. Ali Baba hid behind a tree and watched as Gamal walked up to a slab of rock and cried, "Open sesame." Ali Baba blinked in surprise, for a large secret door groaned open in the rock and the thieves dashed in with their gold. When they came out again, empty handed, Gamal called, "Shut sesame." The rock slid back and they all rode away. Amazing, thought Ali Baba. Then he tried shouting, "Open sesame," just as Gamal had done. Once more, the door in the rock swung open to reveal a cave filled with treasures. Surely they won't miss a little gold. Surely they won't miss a little gold, Ali Baba muttered, scooping up as many bags as he could carry. After he'd cried, "Shut sesame," he raced back to the city. His wife was thrilled to see the gold. She was ready to go to the market at once. Ali Baba stopped her. "We can't spend it right away," he pointed out. "People would wonder where it came from. And if the thieves ever found out that it was me, we could at least see how much we have," said his wife. So she went to visit Cassim to borrow his scales. "Why do you need our scales?" demanded Cassim's wife. "Oh, to weigh grain," Ali Baba's wife replied. She tried to look innocent, but Cassim's wife was suspicious. "Ali Baba is poor," she said to herself. "He would never have enough grain to measure." Secretly, she greased the scales all over with butter. "There," she muttered, "whatever Ali Baba weighs will stick." Sure enough, when Ali Baba's wife returned the scales, Cassim's wife found a gold coin stuck underneath. Triumphantly, she sent Cassim to question his brother. Ali Baba couldn't lie, so he told Cassim about the cave and the password. Cassim's eyes lit up with greed. The next day, he drove 10 donkeys laden with 10 saddlebags to the rock, opened it, and went inside, closing the rock behind him. Cassim was entranced by the treasures in the cave. He gently packed up luxurious silks and seized strings of pearls and ropes of rubies. He grabbed sapphires and rubies and fistful of diamonds, plundering every chest until his saddlebags were bursting. When he came to leave, he had completely forgotten the words to move the stone. "Open up," he shouted, but of course the stone didn't move. "Open barley," he cried in desperation. "Open corn. Open chickpea." Nothing worked. Poor Cassim was stuck there until the thieves came back. When they saw him, they killed him on the spot. Cassim's wife was so worried when he didn't return that she asked Ali Baba for help. He searched everywhere for Cassim without success until he tried the cave, where he found his brother's body. Beside him with grief, he carried it home. "No one must know how he died," Ali Baba told Cassim's widow. "If the thieves hear, they'll know we discovered their secret, and they'll come after us." Together with Cassim's clever servant, Morgiana, he came up with a plan. That day, Morgiana went to buy medicine in the market, telling everyone that she spoke to that Cassim was sick. Over the next few days, she said he was getting worse. At last, she announced that he had died. Finally, he could be buried. After the funeral, Cassim's widow invited Ali Baba and his family to move in with her. "I'm lonely without Cassim," she said. "We still have to keep our heads up," Ali Baba told them all. "We can't risk the thieves finding out we stole their treasure, and that means not using it for a while. The thieves, meanwhile, had discovered Cassim's body missing from the cave and were furious. Determined to discover who'd stolen him, they scoured the city, hot with vengeance. Death to he who knows our password, they vowed. Gamal told them to watch and wait. After a couple of weeks, Cassim's widow decided Ali Baba was being overly cautious. She liked to buy herself little treats, so she started to visit the market, spending some of the treasure Ali Baba had stolen from the cave. One of the thieves recognized a necklace and reported back to Gamal, who laid his plans. He bought 39 oil jars and piled them outside of Ali Baba's new home. Inside each jar, a thief was curled up. Only one jar was filled with oil. When you hear me throw a pebble, Gamal whispered to his thieves, that's our signal to attack. Then he knocked at the door. Please, can you help me? He asked. I'm here to sell oil in the market tomorrow, and I have nowhere to stay tonight. You're welcome to stay with us, offered Ali Baba, who didn't recognize Gamal in his guise as an oil seller. Cassim's wife was delighted to have a guest and ordered Morgiana to cook a grand meal for supper. Halfway through, Morgiana ran out of oil. I'm sure the oil seller won't mind if I use his, she thought, dipping her jug into a jar. She was astonished when a hollow voice inside the jar said, Is this the signal, Gamal? Is it? Echoed from every jar. Not yet, she replied in a deep voice, thinking quickly. Somehow the thieves had discovered them. That meant the oil merchant was probably the captain of the thieves himself. If she didn't act, the whole family would be attacked in their beds. She filled a large saucepan with oil, boiled it up with fire until it spat, then splashed it into each jar. One by one, the thieves died. Morgiana went back inside to serve the meal and prepare for the most dangerous part of her plan. After dinner, she dressed up, placing bangles on her arms, draping a scarf over her shoulders, and finally tying a dagger around her waist. Would you like to see me dance? She asked the family. Ali Baba and his wife were puzzled, but Cassim's widow thought it was an excellent idea. Morgiana began to spin, twirling gracefully, waving her arms above her head, getting faster and faster. At the height of her dance, she withdrew the dagger and stabbed Gamal to death. Ali Baba was horrified. What have you done? He cried. Look more closely at him, Morgiana said. Ali Baba did, and gasped. Gamal. He was going to kill us all, explained Morgiana. His thieves were hidden in the oil jars outside. Ali Baba and his family were so grateful to Morgiana that they shared the thieves' treasure with her. Free to spend it as they wished, they all lived happily ever after. And the treasure cave and magic password were remembered in their family for generations, long after the treasure had been spent. The end.